What if the deepest wisdom wasn't hidden way out there, like in the heavens or across the sea, but actually right here, inside you?
Right.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into some ancient wisdom that honestly feels incredibly relevant for today.
It really does.
We're looking at this idea that divine commands, ancient laws or spiritual teachings maybe aren't meant to be these impossible burdens.
Yeah, not something totally out of reach.
Exactly. Our main source today, it's really looking closely at Deuteronomy 30, verses 11 to 14.
A key passage.
It really highlights how this passage sort of redefined law. It wasn't this distant thing anymore, but something internal, accessible. Like it shifts from, you must do this, to maybe, this is who you're meant to be.
That's a great way to put it.
So our mission today is figuring out how God's word, even the really demanding stuff, can go from feeling too difficult or too far away to being, like the verse says, very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, so you can actually do it. So how did that happen? How did we get from distant law to this intimate truth? Let's trace it.
Well, what's really fascinating, and our sources dig into this, is how Deuteronomy itself is kind of a reinterpretation.
A reinterpretation? How so?
Well, think about the earlier laws, like in Exodus or Leviticus. They could feel pretty theoretical, maybe a bit abstract.
Okay, yeah, lots of rules.
Right, and people might have felt they were in heaven or across the sea, Hard to really grab onto because the why wasn't always clear. It was just the what.
Ah, I see. Just the command, not the reason.
Exactly. But Deuteronomy, it sort of adjusts things for later generations. It doesn't change the core content, but it explains the reasoning behind the rules.
So it connects the dots for them.
Yeah. It makes it understandable, relevant to their lives then. So the law feels less like some old story.
And more like a guide you can actually use.
Precisely. An accessible guide.
That makes sense. That groundwork in Deuteronomy, it's powerful. And, our sources show this isn't just an Old Testament thing. Right?
Oh, absolutely not.
This whole dynamic, how we understand commands, it echoes throughout Christian history too, doesn't it? Even in the early church.
It really does. You see, initially, Jesus' disciples, they had more of what you might call horizontal leadership.
Horizontal, like peer-to-peer.
Sort of, yeah. More collaborative, shared guidance. But then, as different interpretations started popping up, what they called heresies.
Right, disagreements about doctrine.
Yeah. The need for clearer teaching led to a more unilateral and vertical kind of instruction from recognized authorities.
Which eventually became the role of the apostles, guiding the church.
Exactly. And that shift from everyone sharing to more centralized teaching, it really changed how people received the message.
And what's striking, reading the sources, is it's not saying one way was right and the other wrong.
No, not necessarily.
But it shows how the way we get spiritual truth can change how it feels, how impactful it is. Even architecture shows this, apparently.
It does, yeah. Early on, churches often used a basilica style. Big rectangular halls, sometimes round. It fostered a sense of community, that horizontal equality.
Here, we went together.
But later, you get the rise of Gothic churches. Think tall, pointed spires reaching way up.
Very dramatic.
Right. And they weren't just showing off billing skills. They were designed to draw your eyes up, depicting a Jesus who felt maybe more divine, distant, hard to reach even.
Wow. So the buildings reflected how people felt about accessing God.
It seems that way. It reflects a shift in perception, definitely.
That's a powerful visual. So connecting this back, it sounds like just, mechanically following rules, whether ancient laws or even modern spiritual practices. That's not really the point, is it?
No, that's precisely what the sources emphasize. The real core, the essence, is getting God's heart behind the law.
The heart behind it.
Especially his love for us, even, when we mess up as sinners. Think about the contrast of the Gospels paint.
Okay.
You have the Pharisees, who were perfect at keeping the letter of the law externally.
All right, very meticulous.
And then you have the so-called sinners who flocked to Jesus. They often showed more genuine affection, more heart.
Ah, the internal versus the external.
Exactly. When God's love is genuinely in our heart and our confession is on our lips, as Paul echoes Deuteronomy.
Then the law isn't like a heavy chain anymore.
Right. It transforms. It becomes less like a chain and more like a channel for joy, for connection, for purpose.
A chain into a channel. I like that. It makes me think of those New Testament commands that can feel so huge, almost like idealistic slogans sometimes.
Like which ones?
Like love your enemies, or rejoice always, or give thanks in all circumstances. I mean, how do you even do that? They seem impossible.
That's a really fair question. And The principle applies directly. Take love your enemies.
Yeah.
It's probably not about suddenly feeling warm fuzzies for someone who hurt you.
Okay, good. Because that's tough.
Right. It's more about recognizing that God first loved us even when we were hostile to him, his enemies, and gave his son. So remembering